Hello, how you doing, guys and girls? It's Rob Wynn here. I want to teach you something about quantifiers today. So quantifiers are much, many, a lot of, and lots of. When do you use these quantifiers? Well, when you're talking about the amount of something, the degree of something, or just generally when you're quantifying something. You use them with a noun as a determiner, or without a noun as a pronoun, or I say before a noun. I'm going to be going through all the ways you use them in this video. So let's get started. First, we're going to look at much and many with nouns. Much you use with singular, uncountable nouns, and many you use with plural nouns. So let's have a look at a couple of examples. Have you got much change? No, only got a £10 note. So the change is the uncountable singular noun. Many, you could ask someone, are there many campsites near you? And campsites is the plural noun. Questions and negatives. So a question like, how much unemployment is there in that area? Or if someone is baking a cake, you can ask them, how many eggs are in that cake? Negatives. Yeah, it was pouring with rain, but there wasn't much wind. And there aren't many women priests. Affirmatives. In affirmative clauses, we sometimes use much and many in a more formal manner. So there is much concern about knife crime in London, and that's actually true, unfortunately. And we know that we heard many stories, many news stories about this. So you can see how use much and many there. In informal styles, we prefer to use a lot of. So I went shopping and I spent a lot of money. You wouldn't say I went shopping and spent much money. Sounds wrong. When do we use much of or many of? We use them before articles, a and the, demonstratives, this, these, those, that, possessives, my, your, or what's that one? Pronouns, him or her or them. So a few examples. How much of this book is fact or fiction? I myself am a traveller, and I have spent much of my life in England. Unfortunately, not many photographers of the photographers are here. And how many can dance and sing and act? When do we use this much or that much or that many? It's when we're talking about we're quantifying something. So you could say, I only had this much cake. It is true. Don't like to eat too much cake. Very calorific. We use a lot of and lots of in informal styles, and lots of is more informal. And they're used, actually, they can be used with both plural countable nouns and singular uncountable nouns. So some examples, we've got lots of things to do. Well, I got a lot of things to do, which is true. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. There weren't a lot of choices. Are there a lot of good players at your tennis club? So, when asking a negative question, using much, many, or a lot of, or lots of. They mean different things. That's a different question, you see. So if I wanted to know, haven't they sold many tickets? That means I don't think they've sold many tickets. But if I said, haven't they sold lots of tickets? Then I think many tickets have been sold. Lots of tickets. Or if I said, isn't there much food left? I don't think there's much food left. But if I said, isn't there lots of food left? Then I think there's lots of food left. You know, it's different. Like, one way, I don't think there's food. The other way, I do. So it does depend which word or words you use. Often, when you use much, many, a lot of, lots of, well, you don't have to use a noun sometimes if it's obvious. So, would you like some cheese? Yes, please. There's not much. Don't need to say not much cheese because it's obvious. The question is about cheese. Could do some cheese now, actually. Can you pass me some envelopes? How many? You know, just say how many. Don't have to say how many envelopes. And how many people came? Lots, or a lot. Don't need to say lots of people, just lots. We can use much before comparative adverbs or adjectives to make a stronger comparison. So sometimes the prices are much better in the local store than the supermarket, or she's walking much more slowly since her operation. When do you use too much or too many, and when do you use so much or so many, and are they the same? No, they're not. There's a difference. So we often use too before much and many. It means before more than necessary. That's what it means. And we can use too much before an uncountable noun and too many before a plural noun, or without a noun at all if the noun is obvious. So a few examples for you. I bought too much food. We had to throw some of it away. So much food. We had a lot of work to do. Too much. Don't need to say too much work. It's obvious we're talking about work. There are too many cars on the road. Which is true. More people should use public transport. And there are 35 children in each class. It's too many. Don't need to say too many children. It's obvious there's too many children. But when you're looking at so much, so many, with a noun, we use so rather than very because, with affirmative clauses, it doesn't make sense. And we'll give you an example. He has so much money. You wouldn't say he has very much money. Never say that. There were so many jobs to do. As much as or as many as are used when you're comparing something. So you're making comparisons connected in quantity. So some examples. Try and find as much information as you can. See, as much information as. Or you can ask as many questions as you like. Let's look at some typical errors when using much, many, a lot of, lots of. We use much with uncountable nouns and many with countable nouns. So if you're saying something like, it doesn't need much effort, you wouldn't say it doesn't need many effort, because effort is an uncountable noun. And we usually use a lot of and lots of rather than much and many in informal affirmative clauses. So there are a lot of monuments and a lot of historical buildings or historic buildings in Rome. You wouldn't say there are many monuments and many historic buildings in Rome. She gave me a lot of information, not she gave me many information. So a lot of information. And we don't usually use of after much or many when they come immediately before a noun without an article. So they haven't made many friends here, not they haven't made many of friends here. And we don't use a lot of without a noun. So do many people work in your building? Yes, quite a lot. Quite a lot of people. So you don't need to use the noun. Apologies for the poor sound quality. My mic's broken and I am going to get it fixed. I'm going to send this phone off. So whilst it's away, I might not be able to do these videos. That's a pre-warning. Okay, anyway, have a good one, and yeah, check out the Instagram videos, the stories in fact, that I'm going to be posting this week when I have my phone. Okay, bye bye.